Same thing with if I wanted to create a film or membership or a fan club or games or video books, you know? These are the kinds of things that you need to make sure that you own. So that's why I wrote Be the Media. I was like, God, man, I assume we're all smart people, right? What, you think of yourselves as smart people? We're all smart people. How is it possible that the Rocky Mountain News has gone under? Because smart people ran the Rocky Mountain News, right? Or, I don't know, Cumulus, Clear Channel, giant radio companies, so much debt they're going bankrupt. Or just individuals. How is it possible we're not making money? So what I did was I looked at all those people that were making money. And I said, how is it that that musician, that filmmaker, that journalist, that author, they're all selling millions of dollars of goods. They're working out of Scarsdale and the Hamptons and Beverly Hills and Marin County, right? How is it possible, if we're so smart, that they're making money and we're not? So I basically took a look at it and I said, yeah, it's really similar. The top social network advertisers are getting retail, banking, travel, entertainment information. This is information that newspapers usually provide. And now individuals are doing it. So I tried to figure out, well, what's going on? And I looked across every field, and this is what I found. There's 3 major rules if you want to succeed online. 1, direct relationship with your audience. Cut out all the middlemen. Get rid of the publishers, the distributors, the resellers. You can't buy my book on Amazon. Give me 2 reasons why I won't put Be the Media on Amazon.com. Anybody? 2 reasons. Yeah.
They take a portion of your profits.
They take 60% of my money. My money. I want 100% of it, you know? So I spoke 3 times last week, once on Monday, Publishers Association of Los Angeles, and I sold a lot of books. Tuesday night, I spoke book publicists of Southern California. I made even more money. You know, I couldn't fold my wallet. You know how good that feels? I couldn't fold my freaking wallet. I had to run to a bank that night because I had so much money and cash on me. Then Friday night, you know what? I'm speaking at writersconference.com. I gave the keynote. People lined up out the door to get my signature until midnight that night. And there was a bookseller. I had to sell through a bookseller. You know what they took? All they did basically was they gave someone a book and they took their money. Well, shit, I can do that. I can give them a book and take their money. And they wanted 50% for that privilege. So I sold more books that night, but I made less money because I gave 50% over to a shyster, you know? This is ridiculous. So again, direct relationship with your audience, control your rights. Don't give up your rights. Number 3, repurpose your content. So my big point today, if you take 2 things away from this presentation, it's this slide and the next one. Number 1 is, all you need is 1,000 true fans. You don't need millions of people to have a hit anymore. You don't even need millions of people to make a living. All you need is 1,000 true fans. Let's say someone who'll give you, on average, $100 out of their annual salary. That's $100,000 a year. That's a car, that's healthcare, you know. You can live your dream. You don't have to be a taxi driver and do your media at night, right? And what is he trying to say? He's saying that content creation costs have become so low that you don't need millions of people to have a hit. Just 1,000 will do, right? You can count to 1,000. If you start today and you have no friends, within 3 years, if you had a friend a day, you'll have 1,000 friends. So start now, right? So anyway, what he's saying is, the problem is, we're all now competing with each other, right? Because we're all buying, selling, trading, looking at each other's stuff. So we're all stuck out here in the long tail. And you can go broke in the long tail because everyone is a tremendous downward pressure on prices because there's so much content, right? This is the head end of popularity. This is if you sell 100,000 CDs, 10,000 books, $1 million opening night for your film, right? That's the best seller. Kevin is saying there's actually a happy place between anonymity and fame. And that happy place is this 1,000 true fans. Any questions on that before I move on? Okay, so that's the key thing to remember that you should take away, is it only takes 1,000. Yeah?
How do you define a true fan?
So, like, how do you define a true fan? A true fan is someone who will actually pay for something, right? Because you basically are trying to get enough money to survive and support your art. So I would say that there's this big group of people who are fans, but maybe haven't bought anything. I've got thousands of people following me on 30,000 in Facebook, 30,000 in Twitter, 5,000 in Facebook. But only a percentage of them have bought, right? So some people bought this for $35. So they're still not, in my mind, a true fan if you define a true fan as someone who's paid 100, you know? Mickey, I define not only as a true fan, but as a super fan. Why is Mickey a super fan of mine?
buy more than one book?
Bought more than one. He introduced me to 60 people today, you know, another 30, 40 people before. We've been on radio shows before, right? So you're always constantly trying to find from this group of anonymous fans, someone who might become a true fan, right? And from the true fans, you want to find your super fans. And the cool thing is it takes less and less work once you start finding super fans. I have people who pay me $10,000 to speak. Right? Go out and give a speech. Anybody want to make $10,000 to speak? Yeah, I do too, right? You know how many books I have to sell to make $10,000? Do you know how many people I have to satisfy or get in front of to sell that many books? So it's funny, once you start identifying the true fans and the super fans, here's another super fan, oh my God. This woman in the cover, she bought 5,000, she's the one who bought 5,000 copies of my book through Twitter. She's a super fan, she's a freaking super duper fan. I mean, I put her in the book. She's so much of a fan. I'm a huge fan now, you know? Like she got me in front of Columbia and the United Nations and all that. So you got to reward your true fans, right? So that's true fans. But one of the things he didn't do was he didn't really know how to make money from these fans. So what I did was I searched the planet and I found Janet Schweitzer. Janet wrote up this product pricing curve, right? Does anyone know Chicken Soup for the Soul? Anybody heard of it? Right, biggest publishing empire on the planet. 100 of those books were New York Times bestsellers. But the genius behind Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield was this woman, Janet Schweitzer, because she basically created the empire for him. And if you want to know like how to extract as much money out of your properties as possible, and you could be a journalist or even an activist and take the same approach. Because Barack Obama did this too. Barack Obama worked the product pricing curve in his last election like a guerrilla rock star music campaign. So we can go over this not just in dollars, but in just fans if you like. But look where most people are, right? This, I know it's hard to see, but on the bottom is basically your products. From the lowest value, $0 item product, all the way up to the highest value, you know, $10,000, $100,000 where corporations get you to come out and speak. On this axis is the patrons. You know, if we're in the Renaissance, these are your fans, right? From someone who won't pay anything to a fan, to a true fan, all the way up to the super fans. But most musicians, authors, and filmmakers, they're stuck here in this lower left corner, right? All they ever have is like a $25 book. But if all you ever have are $25 books, all you'll ever have are $25 book buyers. So you got to create all of these different ancillary products to get additional revenues. So we see it happening. You know, I've got a $35 book. I'm going to create an $80 hardcover, $150 teacher's edition, $250 teacher's edition with CD and DVD, right? And then of course I get paid to do weekend workshops, and I get paid up to $5,000 and $10,000 to speak. So what starts happening is as you break out on this axis, you get fewer and fewer people here, but they're paying you more and more money. How do you feel about that? Does this make sense intuitively? Have you ever seen a product pricing curve before?
Yeah.
Anybody? Yeah? Where did you see it?
Economics class.
Economics. The problem here is that they don't teach it in journalism school. They don't teach the product pricing curve in radio or in television or in publishing, but they really should. And that's kind of what's happening, is we're trying to teach artists how to make a living. And Barack Obama did the same thing, don't get me wrong. This $0 item is kind of like your social discovery tool. You want to have a $0 item that's not, there's no money for printing or shipping or returns. It's basically a digital file. And Obama used, you know, videos on YouTube. Millions of people viewed his video. What was the next step? They sent in their email addresses. You know, Bush and Cheney, they had 200,000 emails in 2000. By 2004, they had 1 million. Barack Obama had 11 million email addresses in 2008. He had everybody's text numbers, right, that were texting in. And they were basically doing all these offline events. Do you know that he charged $29,000 to go see him at Barbra Streisand's house? Do you remember that? And he raised like $2 million that way? What are those? Those are super fans, right? They paid $30,000 to go see Barack Obama. That's way out here on the curve. How about New York City in Madison Square Garden? He had Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen put on a benefit concert. The cost was between $500 to $1,000 per ticket. Again, isn't he up here in the spectrum, right? Anytime people get closer and closer and closer to the artist, they're going to pay more and more money. And you got less and less fans out here to generate lots and lots of income. So this has happened before. There's some pioneers, right? You know, Ray Charles. How about Frank Sinatra?